Are the royal family of Britain involved with the Islamic takeover? Because it seems that they are deeply embedded in the Islamist tradition and celebrated at every opportunity that they get. And yes, we're talking about the current hullabaloo, but more importantly, we're talking about videos that are starting to surface of them seemingly being madly in love with the Islamic tradition. And as England faces one of the most complicated times in its history dealing with a real takeover, something that the UK managed to stop in 1940. They stopped Hitler from taking over England, and yet somehow Islamists are currently succeeding in taking over. More and more people are wondering how the British family have got anything to do with this and why they seem to be so unbelievably sympathetic. You see, the monarchy doesn't need the Islamist votes. So what are they getting from this? And it all kind of came to head last week when Prince Charles didn't deliver his normal Easter message. Now, as many of you corrected, this is not a tradition of the royal family. They don't always deliver an Easter message, but over the last few years, specifically the last two, Prince Charles has. And this year he decided not to, for whatever reasons, but he did provide a Ramadan message, something that has a lot of people very infuriated. But again, this is not just about this one lone incident. It's about a seemingly weird change in the royal family in which they just can't help but pander to Islamist views. Let's watch Prince William's.
The Muslim community showed the world the true face of Islam as a religion of peace and understanding.
When? With the terrorist attacks?
I was very moved by the stories of the great distances that your friends and families travelled to support you in your time of need, even when your previous connections had not always been frequent. They travelled here to support you because you were family, and that is what families do.
Or maybe they traveled here to support you because they want to be part of the Islamist takeover of your country, Prince William. Invasion. I know you don't live in the 1800s, so you're unfamiliar with this terminology, but it's what they're planning on doing. They're planning on invading, and that's why they're coming, not to support their family, but because they've learned that this is a perfect breeding ground for them to come to.
They drop everything when it is needed. People of all faiths and backgrounds can learn a great deal from how the Muslim families affected by the 15th of March attacks rallied around their loved ones. The example provided by New Zealand will prove to be of enduring value to all nations. What happened here was fueled by a warped ideology that knows no boundaries. The world is rightly united to fight the extremism that has made sorrowful brethren out of cities like New York, Paris, London and Manchester. And that has taken so many lives in Sri Lanka in recent days. And so too we.
Am I the only person who's actually bored out of my brains watching this? Can we come back to it in a second? Because I cannot listen to this slow, monotonous guy who's supposed to be our king. I mean, look at this. So more and more footage is circulating of them doing things that just feel a little bit like pandering to Islamization. Okay, I mean, King Charles hosted an Iftar Ramadan event for Muslims in his castle. Okay, not a great look for somebody who won't give an Easter message. Again, remember, this is not about the message. This is about the fact that the monarchy's position is to defend Christianity. That is what they are there for. And when they're out there pandering to a literal enemy, not even defined that way by Christianity, but defined that way by the Islamists, something about it feels a little bit wrong. A little bit. Could you actually imagine showing this to like the Crusaders or to the English monarchy 200, 300 years ago, saying this is your castle and it's going to be full of Islamists doing an Iftar Ramadan event? I mean, what the heck? Something about this just doesn't match with the monarchy. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're watching these people eating with their hands on the floor. It just doesn't work. And it turns out I'm not the only person who feels this way, because King Charles and the royal family were booed when they arrived at church for a mass on Easter Sunday. Okay, pausing to just say that she's so regal. Even if she's an Islamist lover, she is beautiful. There's nothing I can do about that. You see, the thing about the monarchy is that they're always trying as hard as possible to not get involved in politics because they separate themselves from it. And that works if you actually stay uninvolved in politics. But if you start to choose which parts of politics you want to be associated with, well, then that is getting involved with politics. And therefore, if you're going to do something that is actually against what the majority of your constituents feel like you should be supporting, you're going to have to deal with the ramifications of it. And to think about the fact that the monarchy is arriving at an Easter event and they're getting literal boos means that the people of England are starting to realize that maybe this monarchy is not as innocent as they claim to be. Now, do we know that they are Islamists undercover? No. Do we know why they are pandering? No. Do we know if there really is some big crazy motive behind this? No, we do not. But what we do know is that something about this just feels a little bit fishy, a little bit off, a little bit wrong. And it turns out that so feel the UK people who are actually booing them. They're yelling, "Not my king," if you can hear in the background. Now, what I have to say about this protest is that it's probably a bunch of lefties who don't believe in the monarchy because they don't believe in the equality of it. And they're probably actually the kind of people who do like the whole Islamist thing. And I don't know. I don't know who the Not My King protesters are, but if they are similar to the Not My King protests in America, we know that they're not coming from the best place. But the point here is the same. You don't win. You don't win by pandering to insane jihadi beliefs. Nobody wins across the line. And I don't know why they haven't been taught this. Look, I feel bad for King Charles. I mean, I don't feel that bad for him because he is one of the wealthiest men in the world. But he lived under a mother who just didn't die for years and years and years. And he waited. He wanted that crown so badly. And now that he's had it, he's doing a terrible job. An absolutely terrible job. And I think he might also have cancer. I'm not sure if that's confirmed. But people have had enough. UK is over the idea that it's going to be taken over by Islamists. And yes, there are still a lot of idiotic liberals out there who think that multiculturalism is better, but we all actually know what multiculturalism is. It is the domination of a terrible culture over all of the rest. It is not about actual unity between the factions and bringing these people in under all the communities acting together to your castle. It doesn't align with the values. It just doesn't. And it's about time that somebody tells the royal family this because they are losing. They are losing their edge very, very quickly. And if Prince William has any hope of being a successful monarch in a time where monarchies feel so outdated, he should probably get with the whole, I actually support the people that look like me and feel like me and act like me, and not the Islamist invaders. Thank you for your attention to this matter.